Hey everyone, welcome to another video review. This is the Mastermind Creations Perfection Series PS-22 Ventus, their version of the Protectobot blade. You can see him there in front of his box. Go ahead and put him off the side real quick and take a look at said box. And yet it is a Perfection Series box. You got the nice bit of artwork there, you know, of him looking all heroic. You got all built in PS-22 Ventus air support and Ocular Max thing and Perfection Series up there. On top you have a couple pictures of him in his couple modes. On this side you have a nice bit of artwork right there. On this side, hey, you look, they have the whole, lineup, because, yeah, we are now done. They are all here now. The whole lineup of Protectobots. On the bottom, you have, Maximus Pro, and again, the lineup of them, and, warnings and age 16 and up, because it's not for children. And on the back, you have, hey, look, there's a whole transformation thing of, robot and vehicle and R mode. And, hey, look, there's, of course, the bio and tech specs right there, if you want to read that. Which, of course, goes hand in hand with the whole, decoder sheet, which can do that, and there you go. That's the box. And inside the box, on top of that decoder sheet you just saw, there's also instructions, which are oddly folded because usually you'd think there'd be another fold here, but not this time, I guess. Which, okay, sure. The instructions are they're MMC instructions. There's some parts which are very unclear, and I feel like some of the instructions are not exactly the best way to handle things, but yeah, it can get you over the finish line. And also there's the bio card, which you got that again, that artwork right there. On the back you have again the same bio and tech specs as on the box. There you go. So Ventus blades, a rescue helicopter, and yes, it is a, pretty decent looking helicopter overall. The only thing right here, you can see mine, this panel doesn't tab in super well, unfortunately, which kind of stinks, but, that's the worst thing. But yeah, you can see it's a red and white helicopter. He's got a little landing skids, which have the silly wheels on them. That's from the toy and everything. Yeah, he has the propellers and everything, including the tail rotor and all that stuff. You got a very glossy, high gloss black windows right here in the front and everything. Even got little door handles picked out. This general little details here and there, like this is supposed to be a sliding door, though it doesn't actually slide or anything. And of course, there's little tail fins and all that, and a little exhaust there. And yeah, the wheels actually do roll somewhat okay. They're not amazing, but they do actually kind of roll. I can feel them kind of rolling a bit, although they're not great. Especially again, this surface not so great, but they do actually roll. And also on top of that, hey, look, the propeller blade, of course, can spin pretty freely. Right there, and the tail rotor can even spin pretty well as well, which is nice. So yeah, not a bad looking helicopter overall. Now he does come with a couple weapons, namely there are these two guns, which I'll show those in a second how these work, but they'll plug into the side. He also has his main rifle here, which you can see it's pretty much just in white, and all three of the weapons, nice, thankfully, can attach to the helicopter, but unfortunately there's with this weapon particularly, there's kind of a bit of a nuisance. So first you got to take this and rotate the barrel around, at 180, because this is going to attach up like this. And this attaches to the bottom here, right here. See that? You can't just, slot it in. Oh no, you don't. You have to split this, which is a bit of a pain. So yeah, you have to actually more or less split the sides here, which means you have to lift this up, and then you have to split this and open at least one side up. Like there, like that. Then you could get this gun in there, like that. It won't like hold super secure until you get the whole thing back, tab back down and everything. That was actually the smoothest it's ever been. But yeah, you got to get in there, close it back up, and yeah, you got to get in there and just and then it'll hold like that. So it actually holds pretty securely. Nicely, it is in there pretty securely once it's all tab back together. But yeah, it could be sometimes this stuff will fight you and just kind of whoop there, and it will not go in, or this will all get out of alignment. So trying to get all tab back together annoying. These are much simpler, thankfully. Right back here, you got these little square bits right here. You just flip these up, and there's a peg hole on each side. You just make sure there's a hinge on each gun. Just plug it in and then hinge it forward, and then same thing. Flip that up, and then plug it in and hinge it forward, and there you go. Now Ventus is all armed up, which is something a rescue helicopter should not need to do. But hey, it's like the original toy in a way, so that's pretty neat that there is something, although I wish there was an easier way to make this, you know, plug in without having to, you know, untransform it a bit. Yeah, there's a couple other things in the bag, but I'll get into those in the robot mode because that's where they're kind of necessary, I guess. But yeah, overall, a pretty solid little helicopter. I have to say so myself. So yeah, some quick comparisons. First one, actually, because why not? Here's MMC's Vortex with, you know, in helicopter mode, just because it's the other it's the other Masterpiece combiner helicopter they made, so, you know, just give you an idea. But the different, yeah, you can see they're very different helicopters. And the funny thing that was, there were some people speculating that Blades was going to be retooling of Vortex, which is like, yeah, no. Between the fact they're completely different helicopters and the robot modes look completely different, all you do is just upset everyone, just to, you know, save a couple bucks. But there you go. And of course, this might be a little tricky. Let's see if I can make this work. Rest of the team. Here's Medicus. Here's Navigant. Here's something I can't remember their name, but Groove. Something I can't remember the third party name. And here's their hotspot. There's the team together in their vehicle modes. Yeah, scale's kind of out the window, but hey, that's kind of expected. I mean, helicopter's too small. The helicopter's too small. The motorcycle's too big. Yeah, these three are kind of close-ish. The van is probably a little too small, but yeah. And sometimes I just can't remember the name, the third-party names for these guys, but I don't think you guys really care that much. There's the Groove and Hotspot. All right, that's Incertus. That's Incertus. I just remembered that. Oh yeah, Ignis. That's what it was. Ignis. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, in which way? There's the team. So, I'm going to get this guy transformed into arm mode. Because, yeah, it's just easier to go that way than go into robot than arm. But yeah, we'll get this guy transformed to arm mode and we'll continue this review. Yep. R mode. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Transforming to this mode is interesting, and also on top of that, a lot of people get it wrong. Yeah, so point out all the things you really want to watch out for. But apparently there's like 4 different variations of the arm here, like particularly right here. There's 4 different variations. As far as I can tell, this is the correct one right here. This is the correct variation of the arm. A lot of people have like this up here, and like this in the front, and all, yeah, basically a lot of people have just straight up gotten it wrong. But this is the arm. Yeah, I put this back in because that is technically, I guess, where it's supposed to store. There is another place you can put it. I'll probably show that in the combined mode video, but yeah, by all accounts, that's where it's supposed to go. This is supposed to kind of just chill out right here. Although I swear, every single time I try to get this to, you know, sit, it will, like, it sits differently depending on what I do. So, like, I don't know. I'm trying to get that to sit, you know, I think that's supposed to sit like that, actually, but yeah. Yeah, and of course you can, you know, still use these as you want, if you want, on right here on the arm bits, but the problem with that is just simply it sticks out really bad. Yeah, that sticks out really bad, and that's what they tell you to do, and it's like, ugh, and on both sides. The problem is that they're now sticking out, so now you have to have the arm way out here, and yeah, I mean, you can also put it in the robot mode's place, which will show off again later, but yeah, you can also kind of put them right here, but that's not super tight, and on top of that, it does interfere, particularly right here with the arm stuff, so these are a little annoying to deal with in arm mode, but beyond that, it's a pretty solid arm once you get it all good together properly. This is probably a lot more difficult to deal with than the other parts of this set to, you know, when it comes to actually transforming it properly. But yeah, once you get it all set properly, it actually looks pretty good and works pretty good, and it actually holds together pretty tightly. Like this right here, down here at this bit right here is a bit of a pain to get all this tab together. Like you tab it together and just fights a lot, but eventually it will tab. Essentially, just eventually it will get there. It just can fight you a bit on the way there, and even then I feel like I haven't quite tapped it all in, considering this is not, you know, holding together solidly, but you know, it's solid now, so I don't know. Regardless, that's the arm. Oh yeah, and on top of that, the other thing, a lot of people get this part wrong about how to set this thing properly, and again, I'll talk about that in the transformation video, but yeah. That's the arm. I'm going to go ahead and get this guy into robot mode, and we'll finish off this review. Right, so Ventus has a actually pretty cool looking robot mode overall. The transformation to get there's definitely some parts where it's like, wait, hold on. Like the instructions again were pretty bad about some of the stuff, and particularly like these bits of kibble on the arms themselves. It was very, it was very much very poor about relaying what you're supposed to do there. But I kind of figured it out eventually. Yeah, some of the stuff, definitely first time in particular, the first time was very difficult, like getting stuff like popped loose and everything, but once you get it all figured out, it's actually pretty solid overall. Well, this thing, I don't think it's quite, there we go. Yeah, I think it wasn't quite snapped in all the way I thought it was, but yeah, overall it's pretty solid, but yeah, there's definitely a couple spots where it's like they are not exactly clear about what you're supposed to do, but yeah, getting in close so you can see. Yeah, he's got a nice blue face with a white helmet, blue eyes and everything. Very shiny blue eyes. You got the red and white here on the chest. You got mostly whites and reds going all the way down. You got some nice detail. Again, you got the kibble on the arm, but that's kind of supposed to be there and everything. You got, you know, the red down here with the kneecaps and everything. The feet. I believe that's the correct orientation of the feet. It feels correct because you can technically do it like this, but I feel like you could do, yeah, the feet, you could, heels at least. I'm not sure. I think either it's like this or like this. It either way feels like this. At least, I could believe if you do it like this, that means that's just how it is in helicopter versus like this. At least it means it's doing something. Anyway, try yeah. Backpack, you see, yeah, they did the thing because again in the cartoon, yeah, the rotor was attached to his butt. So how do you do that and keep articulation where you kind of make it fold down like this, so it looks kind of like it's attached to his butt? So yeah, that's what they did there regarding the the looks. Articulation, his head is on a ball joint. You got left and right, you got up and down, you got some waggle, and they also call out the fact that you can pop this up and even have even more articulation. And on top of that, there's a bit of a like hinge right here or on the neck joint as well. So you can get a lot of articulation here on the head if you're willing to, you know, pop that joint up. So there's that. Shoulders, you got full 360, although you got to be mindful of the blades there. You got outward right there. You do have a bicep swivel right here. Also, you have a butterfly joint right there. There's a very stiff bicep swivel right there. Also, sometimes will bring out the kibble with it. Yeah. Elbows are on this weird ratchety joint, kind of ratchet, faux ratchet joint. You can, you know, good curl right there. Hands can, of course, swivel right there, and fingers, as you can see. Each finger is individually has articulated one knuckle each at the base, and the thumb is at a ball joint at the base, which means with a nice cut, so you can, you know, move right there and swivel it back and forth and all that stuff if you want. There's that. Here at the waist, you do have a nice waist swivel. Kind of actually, I'm not sure if that's just plastic resistance or if there's a small ratchety thing in there or what, but there's stuff over some resistance there. Ab crunch, there is one right there. Goes pretty far. It's nice. Hips, you got the hip skirts get out of the way right here and right there a little bit. And the butt plate, I guess, can get out of the way a bit as well. So you got forward that far and back. Well, that far it smacks into the backpack a bit. Outward, you have, again, it clicks outward and goes pretty far. More than full splits, just slightly more. There's the side swivel right there. Knees can bend about 90 degrees because of the sheer amount of kibble. And down here at the feet, you do have a smidge of ankle tilt. There's not a whole lot because this is actually where the hand is. This is attached to the hand. It's like a lot of the other ones for MMC, which is the ankle's limited by the fact there's a hand attached to it or something. But you got that. And down here, you also have a toe joint because of the transformation. So you have a downward toe joint, and the heel and also can move down here on this joint as well if you need that. And the heel can also move down on that joint, and like I was mentioning before, the heel joint here can spin independently. Also got to watch out for on this side because the tail fin gets a little in the way sometimes on that side. But other than that, pretty darn solid. And the backpack doesn't get in the way or anything, mostly other than if you're trying to get the leg really far back. But you know, there's not going to be a lot of poses I think that uses that. Now, as for accessories, you do have, of course, the gun, which again, you can rotate that barrel right there so it's oriented properly. And of course, that will just go in his hand, either one. Just, you know, it's that the weird tab system they've been using. So, you know, plug tabs in the back of the hand. And it's actually pretty solid on this guy, at least on this one. Yeah, so you got that. You can hold it either hand, like so. And these guns can peg in on the side here. That's right here on the legs like that. Unfortunately, it's not super secure there. It does not take much for them to just kind of pop out. So be careful if you have them there. It doesn't take much to cause them to come out. I mean, they'll hold, you can see, but it doesn't take much to do that. It really takes that takes very little effort. So I wish those tabbed in more secure, but you know, they also look a little goofy, but I believe that is correct to the original G1 toy. And a couple of accessories he does have. Of course, you can see he's got his kind of neutral face right there. On top of that, he also has two other faces. There is this little smiling face, and this kind of just angry face. And those, you know, to get those swapped, you just get under the chin here and just slide unpeg the face here. So you get under, but pegs in pretty secure to the point it just pops itself off the ball joint. Man, it just pegs in underneath the face, or pegs in on the face right there. Now he's got a bit of a smile on him. Nope, see, that just knocked that off. Yeah, Yeah, it's just got 2 extra faces, at least for himself. There are a couple extra faces, but not for him. And I'll get into that again a little bit when I do comparisons, which I might as well do now. So yeah, quick comparisons. Here he is next to MP49, just give you an idea of, you know, the line standard right there. So yeah, that's a good size. Here's next to MMC's, I think it was Impetus or was it Incertus? Yes, Impetus. Incertus was, yeah, Onslaught. Right there, you can see very different robot modes. Again, the whole idea that they're going to retool this into the blades is kind of ridiculous now. Yeah, see that? And of course, okay, I'm going to have to move them back because we're going to have to get the whole team in here. There's the entire team. Looking good. Ignis there looking huge. Of these sets, of this whole set, honestly, I feel like Navagon's still one of my favorite. I think my favorite in the whole set. He's just he's just got this perfect thing. Also, the thing about Navagon, I should mention, I don't think I ever mentioned the transformation video, but the light bar for his transformation, you know, the light bar for the car mode. I don't know if I said that in the transformation now, but that's supposed to rotate. Like the light bar is supposed to rotate around because, like, yeah, it sits like that for car mode, and you rotate around for robot mode. I'm not sure if I ever mentioned that in the transformation because I think mine was like this out of the box, so I just didn't know it rotated. It's like, oh yeah, it fits. It makes sense. There's nothing wrong here no matter what. Yeah, it just fits in every mode. So yeah, I was like, yeah, that's something. So yeah, that's the comparisons. But there is one other thing I gotta mention real quick, so I'm gonna clear most of these guys out. Yeah. That's Groove. Class Assassin Incertus here. So yeah, the other faces, it comes with, well, 3 faces for Groove, just in case you scratched yours, like I did on my default. So I'm not sure if these are painted. I don't think these are painted. I think these might be unpainted, so they can't scratch. So yeah, if you scratch your faces on your Incertus here, if you scratch your faces, they provide replacements with blades. Ventus. So yeah, they're the same exact faces. I'm not sure if they're painted or not, but yeah, they're the same exact faces. So if you yours got messed up, you have your replacement. So good for them. They did that. So yeah, it works exactly the same I just showed in Incertus' video. But yeah, you got replacement faces there. So hooray on that. So that is Ventus. Ventus. Why did I say Ventus? Good vertical. Yeah, Ventus. That is Ventus as a whole. Ventus here, he's pretty good. I think he is probably the most, I think the word I would use is fiddly of the 5 for transformation. There's a lot of stuff you have to do in a very specific order. If you don't do it, it's in the right order, you're going to have a bad time. It's one of those, out of the box, seemed really difficult, but once I figured out what you're supposed to do, you know, like, partially in help to thanks to the instructions. He's actually not that bad. He just has a bit more of a learning curve than a lot of the other ones do. But once you get that all sorted out, he's actually a pretty solid transformation. He's just pretty complicated just because what they were doing. They did some pretty wild stuff here. So yeah, he's solid. He's a good figure. I like him a lot. I'm not sure he's my favorite yet, but I think he's grown on me a bit. You know, having messed with him a few days, he's grown on me a bit. I think Navagon's still my favorite. But Ventus here is pretty solid. He might wind up being my 2nd or 3rd favorite. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, Medicus has really fallen down to definitely the bottom, I think. Just Medicus's problems with his legs has kind of irritated me enough that, okay, yep, he's down to the bottom now. But yeah, I think he's pretty solid. My big complaint about him is simply dealing with the gun mode storage and alt mode and arm mode is a bit of a pain. The main rifle, you have to do all that stuff to untransform it and retransform it to get that one, and the other 2 guns in arm mode just kind of suck, and in also robot mode kind of suck, and in vehicle mode they're fine, but in the other 2 modes they're not so great. I'm not having any real issues. I haven't heard any reports of any issues. So the only thing I would also be mindful of when transforming, I almost forgot to mention this, I'll mention the transformation video as well, is the thigh sliders for the transformation can be a bit of a pain initially, but yeah, it's doable. Yeah, he's definitely a solid figure, and as a standalone figure, I think he's generally pretty solid. But yeah, he's definitely, of course, for most of us, he's going to be, you know, the 5th and final member of the, you know, for Maximus Pro. So yeah, he's really good. The other thing I would mention is, well, of course, at this point, if you get it direct from Planet Steel Express, it's about $95 plus shipping. Most of the Western retailers are going to charge about $120. So in the end, theoretically, it should be about $120 US when it's all said and done. However, thanks to the fact it is now May, that is no longer the case. Depending on certain circumstances, if everything's on the up and up, depending on where you buy this guy, for example, Planet Steel Express, he is, I think, listed at $95 US plus shipping, which brings him to roughly 120. The $95 US plus the good old tariff, you're either paying $195 plus shipping, or you're paying what was it? $214 plus shipping. Yeah, so you're either paying 195 plus shipping and 214 plus shipping now from Planet Steel Express, probably. If it's everything on the up and up, I'm not kidding. Which that put the damper on things, because when it at roughly $200, oh no, I don't think this is not a $200 toy. But he's not supposed to be that $200 toy, so that's a fun time. So yeah, those of us in the U.S., if you haven't already pre-ordered him and got him, and he's not already on the way or whatever, I'm not sure about some of the U.S. retailers that might have gotten their stock before tariffs hit, but yeah, at this point, if you're ordering from China, that's what's going to hit. The U.S. retailers still have them in stock, and they're not charging the tariff fees yet, then jump on it from U.S. retailer. It's going to cost, it's roughly, because the MC should cost you around 120 or so, but. And that price is worth it, but yeah, that puts the tariff, it might put a damper on things. Just be mindful of that. So that's the sucks. I have to even bring that up at all, but that's the world we live in now, even though we shouldn't be. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you found it informative and entertaining. Hope you like, comment, subscribe. Check out my social media. It's down in the description at the end of the video. Check out my Coffee and my Patreon. I shall see you next time with another video review.